Welcome to the DFS Express podcast, your stop for daily fantasy sports talk, including slate breakdowns and industry commentary. Let's go to the host of our show, the Daily Fantasy Sniper.
It's time back for another MMA edition of the DFS Express. Gonna talk MMA, UFC Raleigh, the main event. Curtis Blaydes taking on Junior Dos Santos. This is your first time watching or listening. First of all, welcome. We're going to talk just the main event for the card. As I mentioned, Blaydes Dos Santos, full fight breakdown, how I'm playing it on DraftKings, all that good stuff. I do that for every fight on the card over at DFS Army. So go to dfsarmy.com, use the code SNIPER for 20% off your membership. It's not just MMA. I mean, football is ending, but baseball, when it starts up, NBA, all sports, FanDuel, DraftKings, Fantasy Draft, go. Check them out over there. Also, like, comment, subscribe to the podcast if you enjoy it. I really appreciate that, trying to get those up across the board. And lastly, give me a follow on Twitter, @sniper_DFS. I think that's enough of the intro. Let's talk fight here. Curtis Blaydes, JDS. On DraftKings, Blaydes is 9,000, JDS is 7,200. When it comes to the odds, Blaydes minus 250 favorite, JDS plus 210. Fight does not go to decision, minus 425, likely to see a finish. Obviously, with heavyweights, you would expect that, especially these two heavyweights. I will say Vegas is predicting, just by the odds, fight starts round 2 is minus 205. Fight starts round 3 is plus 125. So by the odds, you would gauge that as about a late second round finish is what Vegas is looking at. I'll dive into the individual fighters in a second. Blaydes, 6'4", 80-inch reach. JDS also 6'4", 77-inch reach. We know Blaydes is that relentless type of grappler, wrestler that we love on DraftKings. They're rare at heavyweight. He is one of them. Blaydes, in his last fight, he's coming off of the win over Shamil Abdurakhimov round 2. Before that, he wrestle-fucked Justin Willis. And his only losses are 2 knockout losses to Francis Ngannou. No shame there. JDS, on the other hand, is coming off of a knockout loss to Ngannou as well. Before that, wins over Derek Lewis, tied to Ivasa Blagoy-Ivanov, which, I mean, heavyweight, their names, but heavyweight we know is pretty thin. The one other thing I wanted to point out, JDS, I know it's not as big of a deal at heavyweight, but he's been around a long time, and he's almost 36 years old. Blaydes turns 29 next month. So let's really, the fight breakdown here is pretty simple. Curtis Blaydes is going to try and wrestle JDS, and can JDS stop takedowns? Blaydes, 5 takedowns against Shamil Abdurakhimov, 7 against Justin Willis. Like, that's just how he wins fight. He takes you down, he pounds you out. Dos Santos has got takedown defense about 80%. So it's good takedown defense. But who's he stopping takedowns from? I want to go look here. He got knocked out by Stipe Miocic. The last time he was taken down was the fight he won against Stipe. But it's one of those, you don't face a lot of grapplers at heavyweight. Cain Velasquez in their fight took him down 11 times. So it's not like GDS has amazing takedown defense. He just doesn't fight many people who go for takedowns. And Blaydes is a different kind of takedown artist, especially at heavyweight. He's a good wrestler. I don't think, JDS has slowed down a step. I don't think his footwork is going to be good enough to avoid takedowns. I think eventually Blaydes gets on top and finishes this fight. Potentially late if Blaydes wears on him, but Blaydes' ground and pound is just, it's pretty vicious, man. And we are seeing JDS coming off of a knockout. His fights have not been, he danced around Blagoy-Ivanov for 5 rounds and pieced him up, but I'm on the record saying I think Blagoy is real bad, so I have a hard time buying too much into that. Blaydes, look, I'm a Blaydes guy. I think he is going to be a future champion. He's got to get through Ngannou with that knockout power. But look, at some point, I think this guy is at the very least going to challenge for a title. He's right there. He just has next level wrestling, especially in this division. I think he gets it done here. He averages 7 takedowns a fight. We know is takedown oriented. We know the fight's projected to end early. Santos wins inside the distance is a plus 275. On the other hand, Blaydes wins inside the distance is, I just had it up, minus 145. So there's quick math, 60-ish% chance, according to Vegas, that Blaydes wins by finish. That's what I'm calling here. Blaydes is so hungry. I love his style here. I'm going to go Blaydes first round knockout. So 2 straight main events and picking for an early knockout. McGregor got it done a little earlier than I thought last week, but I am going to go with Curtis Blaydes. So that's the cursory fight breakdown, my prediction. More importantly, at least for me, how am I going to approach this fight on DraftKings? Similar to last week, I think it's pretty simple, and it's actually pretty simple how I'm approaching it. For me, in GPPs, unlike last week where it was like I'm not totally all in this fight I'm all in. If you're making 20 lineups, this fight needs to be in 20 of them. If you're making 50, I'd have it in all 50. If you want to get more than that and then leave a couple on, without one of these two to be different, sure. But Blaydes is going to win through wrestling. At 9,000, he pays it off. If JDS wins, any win for JDS in 5 rounds, finish or otherwise, he's going to pay off his price tag. So 100% exposure to this. For me, I'm really high on Curtis Blaydes. I think JDS is slowing down, accumulation of damage, all that stuff, and just how high I am on Blaydes. I'm going to have a metric fuck ton of Curtis Blaydes, technical term there. Probably 75-80%. Now that's really aggressive. If you're not as high on Blaydes, you like JDS more, you want to pay up some of these other salary fighters and just have more JDS exposure and even it out. If you want to go 50-50 or 60-40 and just hedge that way and get different in other parts of the card, I don't mind that so much. Go ahead, just my stance. These are going to be the two most popular fighters on the card. So to get leverage, you really have to be swayed one way or the other. I'm going to look to get leverage on Curtis Blaydes. Going over to cash games, how am I going to approach this fight? Honestly, it's a stack week for me. I'm going to stack this up. And how does this differ from last week? Is both guys have a really low floor and could score 0 points. They could totally bust. Well, last week we had a ton of odds value. This week, not so much. I'm picking one underdog to win flat out. There's no crazy odds value anywhere. You want to get some safety and points, and stacking is a way to do that. Unless you're really confident in the mid-range fights, the Brett Johns Gravely fight, the Herbert Burns fight, which I think are close fights and more difficult to call. I'd rather just pay up, get a little bit of safety in guys. I don't know if I said it before, in Bevan Lewis, Montel Jackson. Those are the safer plays this week. So JDS allows you to get some salary there. If he happens to win, I think most people are going to I think Blaydes will be more popular than JDS. If JDS happens to win, you'll have a big advantage there. Cash games is, if you're not familiar, it's more about safety. Get points where you can. You're going to get at least 100 points between these two guys that have a hard time seeing it not score there. You don't need to go 6 for 6 in cash games. Build your floor. And I am much more likely to stack this week than I was last week, where I didn't, because we had some odds value guys, a couple who busted, but I like Drew Dober. There's nothing like that on this card. So unless something opens up later in the week, a line swings big time before fight day, in my cash games, I am 99.9% going to stack this up. So that's what I got for you guys for UFC Raleigh for the main event. Like I said, full card breakdowns, podcast notes, all that good stuff over at DFS Army. Like, comment, subscribe. I read the reads twice pretty much, just going, promoting myself. But I appreciate everyone who does listen. I really, really do, guys. So I've gotten some good feedback, a lot of support. I see the downloads. I appreciate you guys. Good luck in your contest. Hit me up on Twitter if you want to talk any fights, just to chat, any of that good stuff. And I'll catch you next time.